Now, today certainly is a watershed day in the life of your loved one. Quite frankly, it's one that they've looked forward to since most of them arrived here on or about 1 March. And there's a few of them thought this day may never come, but it is here. I can tell you what truly makes this day special is the fact that you've carved time out of your busy schedule, made the trek to Parris Island. You found out not the easiest place to get to, but you're here to help recognize and celebrate, arguably, a significant accomplishment as any 18 to 26-year-old young man can do. I know it means the world to your new Marine, and I thank you for being here. Now, in about 10 minutes, that big old garage door over there to my left and your right is going to open, and our nation's newest Marines are going to come marching or strutting in here. In the meantime, I want to give you a quick brief, and I simply want to cover 3 things. I want to give you an idea of what your Marines have been doing since they've been here. Well, they've been Marines for about 5 days now. Like most Marines, they're pretty good at exaggerating their exploits. So I want to give you an idea of maybe what they've really been doing. Secondly, I want to cover what's next along the training pipeline for them. And then thirdly, just briefly, cover the schedule for the remainder of the day and tomorrow. So let's begin with the mission of the Recruit Training Regiment. As you can see on the Jumbotron behind me, that mission is listed. And you can also tell somebody spent an awful long time parsing each word and getting it exactly correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a product of the Indiana public school system, which means I like things a little more simple. So I can break that down into 5 words. We make, basically, trained Marines. Said another way, we pour good concrete. When that concrete hardens or firms, it'll provide the foundation that will carry these Marines through the remainder of their Marine Corps career, whether that be 3 or 30 years. And just as significantly, at some point in time, all Marines return to the civilian sector, and I can assure you that very foundation and concrete that was poured here will hold them in good stead as they return to the civilian community. All right, if you want to make concrete stronger, the way you do it is you reinforce it with rebar. The rebar we use in the Recruit Training Regiment is our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. They are intertwined and interlaced in all aspects of our training. Honor in its simplest form means to do the right thing because it is simply the right thing to do. Courage, since your loved one has been here, they've been challenged mentally and physically, probably more than some of them ever have in their life. They've certainly displayed a level of courage in that vein. But more significantly, the last 12 weeks, they've gone through a laboratory for what it means to have moral courage. I can promise you, if called upon, they are fully prepared to stand in the breach and to do the right thing because it is simply the right thing to do. Commitment. Like most 18, 25, 26-year-old young men and women in this country, when they first arrived here, they were more concerned with the vertical pronoun of I, what's in it for me than we, but I can assure you, after 12 weeks of encouragement from the drill instructors, they are now fully committed. They're committed to our nation, the Marine Corps, their fellow Marines, and their friends and family. They truly are now committed to a cause that is greater than self. All right, how do we conduct the training? Well, the training is conducted in 3 distinct phases. The first phase is, without question, the most challenging, both mentally and physically, for the recruits. Before they can even begin training, they have to go through some administrative processing. We ensure that they're medically cleared to begin training. We issue them their uniforms and equipment. Each one has to pass an initial strength test. We certainly ensure they have that sporty haircut before they can begin training. Now, we have young men and women that come down here from all over the eastern part of the United States. And they bring with them their own life experiences, mores, and values. And that's all right, because we start them all out at ground zero. Teach them how to walk, talk, shave, shower, and dress the Marine Corps way. And during the first phase, it usually involves a drill instructor, encouraging them to do it a little bit louder and faster than they've been accustomed to. We also introduce them to a litany of new concepts that range from our Marine Corps martial arts program, physical training program, close order drill, and the Marine customs, courtesies, traditions, and the history of the Marine Corps. We truly do let them drink from a fire hose in the first phase. You know, ladies and gentlemen, you can understand a lot about what phase the recruit's in by a letter you might have received home. For instance, the first phase recruit letter home might have sounded something like this. Dear Mom and Dad, what in God's name have I done? If you get me out of here, I promise you for the next 3 years, I won't give you any guff at all. Ladies and gentlemen, after 23 training days, they move on to second phase. And during the second phase, we continue to develop their understanding of our core values, honor, courage, and commitment. By this time, they should be able to apply those to their daily training. We also introduce them to more advanced concepts like our Marine Corps marksmanship program. They get to qualify through the M16A4 service rifle. A lot of time is spent on weapons. They understand how to employ that weapon if needed be. After 24 training days, we go on to the third and final phase of recruit training, which is third phase. Again, we introduce them to more advanced concepts. This time, it's field firing and basic field skills, so they understand how to work and live in a field environment. Now, during this phase, many of those things that we introduced them to in first phase, we test them on. They have to pass the physical fitness test, the combat fitness test. They also have to pass a written and practical examination. They have the close order drill competition, the battalion commander's inspection, and ultimately the defining moment of the crucible. Now, this last week in this phase is called Marine Week. And we transition from a very regimented environment to one where the drill instructors take on a role of more of a mentoring that will prepare them for what they'll experience as they go out in the fleet. Now, it's important to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that not every recruit that comes down here can or will become a United States Marine Corps. There are 7 graduation requirements. These, frankly, are non-negotiable. They are listed up on the screen behind me. In short, you have to be able to shoot, swim, do Kung Fu or McMap. You have to pass a written and practical examination, 2 physical fitness tests, battalion commander's inspection, and ultimately the crucible. For those recruits that do that, the end result is a young man or woman who has simply earned the title United States Marine. They're one who's embraced our core values of honor, courage, and commitment, and they'll strive each and every day to be the embodiment of those values. It's also a Marine that is fully prepared to take his or her place in the long line of Marines that have gone before and help write the next chapter in the legacy of the Marine Corps. And I'd be remiss today, ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't spend a moment talking about our drill instructors. See, it's drill instructors that make Marines. They're the ones that pour that good concrete. They do it here at Parris Island, at our sister depot in San Diego, and it's drill instructors that train officers at our officer candidate school in Quantico, Virginia. They're historically all volunteers. They go through a very demanding and challenging 12-week drill instructor school. Where at the end of the day, it's the drill instructor's leadership, commitment, tough love, and personal example that forged these young men in the United States Marines. And I would encourage you, at the conclusion of today's ceremony, come up, shake their hand, take a picture of them, thank them for a job well done. Now, don't be shy when you do it. I know they may bark a lot, but they don't bite. Now, let me tell you about what's next for your loved one. The first thing is 10 days of well-earned boot leave. As you can see on the screen behind me, they have an opportunity for advancement. They refer somebody to their recruiter. Why is that? Simply, the Marine Corps doesn't think there's any better proof source than that young man or woman back in their local community representing the Marine Corps and showing firsthand what 12 weeks in Parris Island can do for a young man or woman. Or thought of another way, why should your loved one be the only one from back home down here having all this fun? All right, let me go over some ways that you can help us while your loved one is on leave. You see, for the last 12 weeks, your loved one has not stayed up late, not driven a car, not consumed any alcohol or tobacco products. And by the way, if your loved one was a dipper or a smoker before they got here, they have just gone through the absolute best 12-week tobacco cessation program there is in the United States of America. And I would encourage them to stay off the nicotine. You see, it's the first 48 hours where your new Marine is the most susceptible. Because the tendency is, I gotta cram everything I've missed for the last 12 weeks, all that fun stuff into those first 2 days. But their bodies aren't used to that. Quite frankly, their bodies have been on the same body clock that my in-laws are on, or live in Florida. That is to say, they get up about 4 a.m., go about their daily business, they have their evening meal at 4 in the afternoon, and they're in bed by 8 o'clock. So I ask you to be attuned to that in those first couple days when they're home. Other point up there is very important about the motorcycles. That is certainly true that your loved one leaves here with a certain feeling of invincibility. But I can promise you that feeling of invincibility in motorcycles does not mix. And on more than one occasion, they've been counseled by senior members of their chain of command. If they're a motorcycle rider, they need to have the correct defensive posture when they ride that bike. I just ask you to be attuned to that as well. All right. We talked to you about what's next, because at the end of the day, we want them to ride healthy on time to their next duty station. And that is the School of Infantry. At the School of Infantry, there are 2 distinct or divergent paths. If your loved one is an infantry Marine, they will go to the Infantry Training Battalion, and they will go under a 9-week program. At the end of that 9 weeks, they will have earned their occupational naturally within the infantry field, and then they will go out to the operating forces and join their fellow Marines. Now, your loved one is a support personnel, like it was a communicator, administrator, supply, cook, baker, candlestick maker. They'll go to what's called Marine combat training. This is where one of the tenets of the Marine Corps is upheld, that every Marine is a rifle. They'll go through and develop the common skills that every Marine will have. And after the 5 weeks, if called for, they will be able to perform those duties of a rifleman. Now, after their 5 weeks are up, they will go on to their normal MOS school. Now, those MOS schools can range anytime from 3 weeks to 52 weeks to 18 months. The shortest ones will be truck driver. Some of our Arabic language schools, they're a little bit longer at 18 months. All right, let's quickly take a look at the remainder of the schedule. Liberty begins at 1000 today, 10 o'clock, and ends at 3 o'clock or 1500. I would encourage you to try to have your loved one back on time. We wouldn't want to give the drill instructors one last opportunity to give your loved one some special attention. Now, I want to make sure you understand about this color ceremony tomorrow. I know you have a lot of things to do in busy schedules, but I can assure you, if you're able to fit this into your schedule, it's a ceremony that you'll find very motivating, rewarding, and patriotic, and well worth your time. It goes in front of the General's Building at 7:45 to see the bleachers out there. And then after that ceremony, you'll have time to move down the Boulevard de France to stake out your seats for graduation. It starts right at 9 o'clock. All right, let me give you some no-nos while we're on Liberty today. As I mentioned before, I know you've heard this, your loved one cannot drive or depart the depot. They can drive your car tomorrow. If you think that's the best thing to do after 12 weeks, they're not driving. It'll be up to you tomorrow. They can't purchase any firearms at the exchange. Think about this. Why would they want to? I can assure you, your loved one gets to their first duty station. If their billet or job requires them to have a firearm, we'd be glad to provide one free of charge. Purchase tobacco or alcohol, you can't do that today at the exchange. This next point is very important up there. They are not allowed today to go out and demonstrate any aspects of the training for you. Now, you can go out in the training area and you can watch. We also ask that you refrain from getting on the obstacles. I know it may be tempting to take little Johnny or Susie, put them on the A-frame, and try to get that Facebook profile picture, but for your own safety, we ask that you refrain from doing that. All right, what to do today? Now, look, I know you've seen this slide before, and I just want to cover a couple points here. I looked at the weather forecast and we've already experienced that sun's out today and it is angry. So I would encourage you, drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and two of your best friends at Parris Island in the late spring and summer can be shade and a breeze if you can find it. So I encourage you to do that. Now, we really can't talk about what to do today without talking about food. Now, since your loved one has been here, I can assure you that the food that we've provided them has been sufficient in both quality and quantity. We got to be honest with you. They are really looking forward to getting at this food on these places up here, or perhaps that Yogi Bear-sized picnic basket you brought. To illustrate that, I'll give you this example. It wasn't long after I'd first been here, I was conducting a battalion commander's inspection. I stood in front of this one young Marine and I said, "Son, why is it that you wanted to be a United States Marine?" He looked right at me, he didn't hesitate. He said, "Sir, I've dreamed about being a Marine ever since I was a little boy." But naturally, we get the next question. "Son, now that you're a United States Marine, what is it that you dream about?" He didn't hesitate again, looked right at me and said, "Pizza, sir." So they're after this stuff. All right, a couple other options for you today. We have an awesome museum here, probably one of the top 2 or 3 in all of the Marine Corps. I'd encourage you to take that in. You can go out to the Weapons Field Training Battalion. They have an awesome weapons display you can see. You can even go over to the recruit chapel and see where your loved one has gone for the last 12 weeks and prayed to get off this island. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to get off this island indeed, and they are going to do so by marching across the Petros Parade deck tomorrow at 10 o'clock as a proud United States Marine. So without further ado,